Hello, it's Mark, Big Man of the Woods, episode 10. We're in double numbers. Yay! This episode, we get a phone call from a listener asking what knife I recommend for his 11-year-old son. I also give you a quick overall about my dump scout camp that we did, a brief sleeping bag guide. We find out what happens if you chop down the tree with a grenade in it, and not forgetting my DIY waterproof matches is all here in episode 10 of Big Man in the Woods.
Big Man in the Woods. Big Man in the Woods. Big Man in the Woods. And here's your host, Mark Yates.
It's so exciting doing this episode. Why? Because it's episode number 10, double numbers, and it's been great. And I want to actually personally say thank you very much for subscribing to iTunes, or if you listen via Spreaker or Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or if you just head over to the website and you listen to it via there. Just really thank you very much. I didn't actually think I'd get to number 10, but I've got lots of support and lots of followings, loads of comments, so just want to say thank you very much for listening in the past. And if this is your first time listening to Big Man in the Woods, hello and welcome. Thank you very much. Past couple of weeks had loads of comments, new likes, new subscribers, new emails. So once again, thank you very much. And we will drop you a little hello later on in the podcast. Forgot what I was going to say. But what I want to kick off in episode 10 is, if you go over to my website, it's actually just been revamped, bigmanofthewoods.co.uk. If you go on the contact page and click SpeakPipe, you can record me a message, whether it's just a simple hello, thanks very much, Mark, or a question. And I received this question a couple of weeks ago.
Hi Mark, this is Andy from Hendon. Can you recommend a good bushcraft knife for my 11-year-old son?
So I thought what I'll do, I'll post the question to you guys, and you guys came flooding back. It's really cool. Thank you very much. David McRae says, I use both the Holt Force and Moira safety training knives with kids. I prefer the Moira blade, but the Holtford's handles. I think that's how you pronounce it. My apologies. Peter Tamsin says Moira Companion. Paul Wood from Military Mart. Hey Paul. He says the Moira Craft line. That's what I was going to say. Carlton Blackbeard Blackwell. His eldest son, who's 10, he's got his Moira, but only when supervising. So yeah, I can understand that, Carlton. I would say Moira knife. The two that I've got, Moira Clip is like £11, and then I upgraded last year and got the Moira Bus, 15 quid. But just looking at Moira Craft line, just simply putting it into the search engine, they are approximately is about £8. There we are, the Moira Craftline High Q Safe. £8.48 is the cheapest that I found it. Really nice handle, comes in a variety of colours, and instead of having a pointy end, so there you go, Andy. Hope that answers your question.
Big Man in the Woods with Mark Yates.
Big Man in the Woods.
So a few podcasts ago, I was talking about my dump camp that I was going to do with my scouts, basically. And we went off to our local district campsite a couple of weeks ago. There was about 10 scouts, was over the far side of the field. We left them, and we took 6 brand new young people. So they were 10 and a half. They've just come to scouting. They've never been camping before, never slept in a tent, and it was absolutely amazing. All of them were petrified, absolutely petrified. But just sitting down, explaining what we're going to do, it was really great, absolutely great. And we did some really cool bushcraft stuff. So we hunted down the silver birch log. We found it. I showed them how to take the bark off the log. You know, we scratched it, fire and still, spark it up, teaching them about fire preparation, which was a bit of a game because, you know, I knew that they didn't have enough wood, but they assumed that they did. They got the fire going, and then, as you can imagine, you know, the fire just died down because they didn't have enough wood to keep going. You know, they didn't grade it properly. And I wanted that to happen. I wanted to teach them that, you know, that the whole point is preparation, isn't it? You know, if you think you've got enough wood, times it by 3. That's the kind of rule that they say. And they took my advice. They spent a bit more time getting the wood, properly grading it, and that fire was amazing. It was really cool. They cooked their first meal on an open fire. Their faces, I wish I could show you their smiles. They were huge from ear to ear, this massive grin, because they've never cooked any kind of meal on an open fire. Yeah, they've done a bit of barbecue with their dad and their mum, but they actually did this on their own, It was really good, and their egos were amazing. So, I set another challenge in the morning. We get up, we get this fire going, let's cook the bacon. And again, they woke up in the morning, they looked at the fire, and they were like, but Mark, there's no flames, we can't get it going. Me and you know that, if you've got a few embers, the fire's going to go, isn't it? So off they went to go and get a bit of tinder, a bit of kindling, bit more wood, and then with a few blows, that ember, whew, it was going within, literally a minute. They were surprised that they could do that, which was great, which was absolutely amazing. And then they cooked that bacon, and that bacon tasted the best because, again, they cooked it themselves on an open fire. So just rounding the scout camp up, it was really cool. I really enjoyed myself because these kids have never been camping, and now they've got the bug. Not only have they got the camping bug, but they've got the bushcraft bug. They actually don't want to use cheating, they actually want to go and source the material from the wood themselves. They want to make their own tent pegs instead of bringing the metal ones. They want to use silver birch instead of using cotton wool. They want to learn fire still instead of using matches. All that kind of stuff. It's going to be amazing. So next year when we're back scout camp, it's going to be really cool, really enjoy it, and it's giving me a massive buzz as to why I joined the scouting movement. And if you want to encourage young people, I suggest you head over to the Scout website. Just go into Google, put Scout Association, and you will find a and you'll find a close by Scout Hall. I can't remember what there is something like you're not more than like 2 miles away or half a mile, something stupid, crazy like that from a Scout group. And if you like camping, every Scout group is crying out for adult help, not just leaders, but I'm talking about just occasional helpers. Even if you just go camping or help once a month or whatever, they would bite your fingers off. They would snap you up so quickly because they're getting it. And seriously, that weekend with those 6 kids has just given me a massive big buzz onto why I want to do scouting and take them camping. So yeah.
Visit our website,
bigmaninthewoods.co.uk.
So the other day I noticed on Paul Kirtley's Facebook page that he is launching Paul Kirtley podcast. So I was thinking, I wonder if this is true or not. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give him a call. Don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if he's in the country or anything. So let's just give him a call. Let's call him on his number. You never know if he's in the UK or anything. I don't know if he's canoeing in Canada. I know he recently done a Canada trip, didn't he? So it's like phoning him. It's a bit like, reminds me of, what did they call it? Going live. Remember when they used to phone someone? Is he going to answer, isn't he, anything? Let's just see if he answers or not.
Hello.
Hey, is that Paul?
Yeah, it is. Who's that?
Hey, Paul, it's Mark Yates from Big Man in the Woods.
Hey, Mark. How you doing?
I'm very good. Yourself?
I'm good.
So the other day, in fact, it was yesterday, I think, you posted a little picture on Facebook about a podcast.
Yeah.
Is this true?
What, that I posted a picture?
Very good. That there's a Paul Kirtley podcast coming very soon.
There is indeed. Yes, it is true. It's all true.
It's not an early April Fool's or Christmas present joke or something?
Not at all. No, it's definitely true. I've been working on it for a little while, and it's coming to fruition, so it'll be launched very soon, in fact.
Very soon, meaning?
In December.
It is December?
Yeah.
So it could be like any minute now, then?
It could be.
Cool.
Could have launched while we're having this conversation.
Hey, are we allowed to know any episodes or any things that's happening?
Well, I do have a few things lined up. The whole idea for me to do a podcast was to sort of extend what I'm doing with my blog, so I can share things with people in a way that maybe I can't on my blog currently. So you run a podcast, you have conversations with people. You can't really turn that into text that people want to read necessarily, but it makes an interesting podcast. And that was one of the things that I wanted to do, so that as I'm traveling, as I'm doing trips, as I'm working with different people, I can have conversations about interesting subjects that people are going to be interested in, bushcraft, survival, outdoor life in general, and put that onto my blog as well. And of course, then you've got all the other ways that people can find you out there as well, which are proliferating. You've got iTunes and you've got lots of other indexes as well. So it was just a way of getting more information out to more people. So the plan really is to have interviews, to have conversations, and maybe some of them will be a bit more sort of magazine oriented with shorter sections, but certainly initially there's going to be one main feature in each podcast, which will be a discussion with another person with an area of expertise to do with the outdoors. So the first episode, I've got Dr. Sarita Robinson, who is senior lecturer at University of Central Lancashire, and her area of expertise is survival psychology. And the second episode, I've got a discussion with Ray Goodwin, the British canoeing maestro, who I know you're familiar with. And the conversation that we have there is really around the mindset that you use when you're making expeditions and the tactics that you use. And we actually recorded that on a canoe expedition we did in Canada in the early autumn. So that's a really interesting piece, because we were really in the expedition mindset, because we'd been on that trip already for 10 days. We're coming towards the end of the trip. We had a few more days to go, and we sat down one sunny morning and had this conversation about how we approached a trip like that and why we love expeditioning in the Canadian wilderness as well. It was just a fantastic environment to be in. And then I've got a very special guest coming for episode 3, but I'm not going to let that one out of the bag yet, so you're going to have to wait for that one.
I thought I had one above you, because I was reading comments last night on Facebook, and Ray Goodwin kind of was hinting that he'd done an interview. I was hoping you weren't going to say it. I thought I was going to catch it.
Okay.
Damn.
Okay, sorry. Stole your thunder.
Damn. Well, Paul, I just wanted to have a quick phone call. Thank you very much for those few minutes, and we look forward to it. How can we get hold of the Paul Kirtley podcast? Any ideas?
Yeah, so initially I will be posting onto my blog, and then I will be getting them listed onto the indexes, the directories, if you like, things like iTunes and the various other ones that are out there. So yeah, have a look at my blog, paulkirtley.co.uk. If you're not on my mailing list, you should be, and don't forget about those free videos you can still get. We can always promote those, but no, have a look on my blog, and then I'll be submitting the feed to the directories, and they'll be popping up in various places. But yeah, come over to my blog, check it out, and it'll be on there soon.
Excellent. Well, Paul, thanks once again, and we look forward to it.
No worries. Good to speak to you, Mark. Cheers. Take care.
You're listening to Big Man in the Woods. Big Man in the Woods.
So later on in the podcast, I was reading this in the paper today about a wood stove got blown up by a grenade. I'm going to tell you that a little bit later in the podcast, but while I've got your attention, please head over to the website, bigmaninthewoods.co.uk, and sign up to our email listings. It's just going to be an email to tell you when the latest podcast is, or if I've got some extra news. While you're there, I might as well ask you to be sneaky and go onto iTunes and drop us a comment and review and subscribe. That would be amazing.
Join our Facebook page.
Facebook.com/Big Man in the Woods.
So Christmas is just around the corner, and I'm going to run a really cool Big Man in the Woods competition prize. Now, I'm not going to tell you what you can win. All I'm going to tell you is a cool prize. That's all I'm going to tell you. I will tell you is you'll get a Big Man in the Woods t-shirt, plus some other goodies. So stay tuned to this podcast to find out how you can win the Big Man in the Woods Christmas competition prize. At work the other day, someone was asking me, Mark, can you explain to me the whole sleeping bag, the seasons? What do they actually really mean? And it really caught me out, because I was like, do you know what? I actually don't know what they really mean in detail. I kind of roughly know that, season 1 is this and season 2 is that. And yeah, it got me thinking, what do these really mean? Because the sleeping bag that I use isn't really such a sleeping bag. It's the Czech bedroll sleeping system, 10 quid, militarymark.co.uk. And that really doesn't have a sleeping season as such, but it is around season 3, which I'm going to explain to you what that means in just a few seconds. But, you've got the wool in there, and if you wear jogging bottoms like I do in a sleeping bag, that will make it nice and toasty. Top it up to maybe season 4. And if you get into a hammock and then put your under blanket around mine, you're going to be roasting. It's going to be so toasty. So it got me thinking, let's quickly do a sleeping bag guide and just roughly explain what all the seasons means. Now, I don't want to insult you or anything like that if you do know about sleeping bags, but like me, I was brand new into it just a few years ago, and I was just confused as anything when I went in to buy my first sleeping bag all those years ago from Argos, 2 for 20 quid. We do it. We all make mistakes, but hey, it's all part of the learning curve, isn't it? You know, you gotta make mistakes. That's the only way to learn. That's the way I kind of think. You know, make mistakes, then you learn from the mistakes, isn't it? That's what they say. So here's just a brief catch up or a brief rundown on what sleeping bag season ratings, what they actually mean. So. One season, or season one, whatever way you want to say it, is a lightweight, compact, and it's ideal for hot summer months between kind of June to August, camping abroad or in hotter countries. So when you just need the light layer. Season 2 is ideal for late spring to early autumn, and that's kind of your typical family. They will take those kind of camping sleeping bags, and that's what the ones I got from Argos. So they're okay, but I do have to use an extra blanket with it. So that can be a bit cumbersome. So that I've kind of scrapped. That's up in my loft. Don't really use it, to be honest. As I said, I use the Czech bedroll for military mart. Moving on to Season 3 sleeping bags. These are for use in early spring to late autumn and perhaps a bit of a warmer winter evening, as we're having now, because it's going to be the hottest time of the year. So they say. This winter in 2014 is going to be the hottest one. So now you can start using those. These are generally used for school trips and DV exhibitions. Season 4, these are really thick bags, often insulated, and these are for winter use when temperatures can drop below 0. And then last but not least is Season 5. Or these are Season 4 Plus, so they call them different things. These are for exhibition bags for high mountain use or extreme cold temperatures. So, Arctic. Blah. Not in London, we don't use that here. The other thing that caught me out was left-handed and right-handed zips. This I did not know about. I'm omitting this until I started researching about sleeping bags. If you're left-handed and the zip's on the right, it can be quite awkward to zip yourself up if your zip is on the wrong side. So, remember, left-hand zip for the right-handed people and the right-hand zip for the left-handed people. Something I really didn't think about, but obviously so. People also consider about your pack size and the weight, whether you're family campers or car camping, or if you're going backpacking and travelling light. So that's always something to think about, is the weight of your sleeping bag. And then you've got to think about sleeping bag size. Are you a tall guy like me? So will you need to get an extra extension on the sleeping bag? You can get extensions on those sleeping bags, but sometimes the zip doesn't go all the way down. You can get different shapes. So you can get the mummy, which rounds off above your head, or just a square, so your head isn't included. And you can get a double sleeping bag. So if you move around in your sleep quite a lot, sleeping in a normal cocoon sleeping bag can be quite claustrophobic for some people. So maybe you want to go for a bigger size or even a double sleeping bag if you want to take your partner and cuddle up to him. Something that my wife keeps hinting when we were going camping, but thankfully I avoided that. You're going to have a down sleeping bag. So these are like your down jackets. They're insulated to kind of 4-5 season. Keep you really nice and toasty and warm in really cold temperatures. But if you're just camping in the summer season, you really don't generally need these unless it's going to be absolutely freezing. From down sleeping bags, we've got synthetic sleeping bags. So these are much more common, ranging from the cheap ones that you get in your supermarkets to really expensive ones. They use synthetic... I can't say that word. Never been able to say it. Synthetic insulation. That helps keep the colder air from reaching your body. And these bags you can use in varying temperatures depending on the rating of the sleeping bag. So you have to match them up, Women's sleeping bags. This is another new subject, obviously. Well, I did look in for my wife, but I didn't think much about women's sleeping bags, but there is. And these are more technical. I quote, "They are for a better fit and insulation from the female figure. They are usually narrow at the shoulders to trap warm to trap the warm air in, making it more effectively and keep air from getting in, while offering more room for a curved body shape. That's what it says, not what I said. And then we got our next little option is the children's sleeping bag. So this is a smaller and a shorter sleeping bag compared to your average adult bag, just because of a lot of air can circulate in the bottom part of the sleeping bag, isn't it? So smaller, less air to get colder, keep the body nice and warm. And while we're on the subject of sleeping bags, don't forget, if you are sleeping on the ground, you'll obviously need a roll mat. This is just a really thin bit of foam, and it puts a layer between you and the ground, because the ground will soak the body temperature out. So you want to make a bit of a gap between you and the ground. If you're going to get a roll mat, maybe invest a little bit more on a self-inflating mat. That's what I've got. I use that in my hammock. Think of like blowing up a balloon. So you're blowing up a roll mat on a nice cushion of air. They can range anything from a couple of quid. You can buy them in your supermarket to a bit more, 20 quid or whatever. Or then, from self-inflating, you've got to go to an air bed. Yeah, we all got it. I've got one up in my loft in case the in-laws stay over or something. That's the same principle. But remember, if you are going to use an air bed in your tent, don't inflate the air bed outside the tent. Always inflate the airbed inside the tent. You won't be able to get that airbed into the tent. Talking from experience. And then the last but not least is a camp bed. My scout leaders always take the mick out of me. Not just my scout leaders, my other camping mates, because I have got a really nice camp bed. It weighs a ton, but if you listen to Big Man in the Woods episode 2 about sleep deprivation, you've got to get a good night's sleep. And if you're going to get a good night's sleep, you might as well get a camp bed. Invest in it. They are a little bit expensive. They are kind of your 50, 60, 70 pound range, but they are amazing. They are so, so good. But this isn't for your backpacking. This is more glamping, car camping kind of thing. So I hope that kind of just catches up and refreshes our minds, or even teaches you something about sleeping bags. I got all this information on gooutdoors.co.uk. I put the link up on the Facebook page. I'll also put it in the Big Man in the Woods website. And it's a great little article. I posted it on Facebook just a couple of days ago, just explaining about the different styles and what the seasons means of sleeping bags. Something that always catches me out, and it caught me out at work the other day. Proved it. So head over to the website, and I hope you enjoyed that.
Find us on YouTube.
youtube.com/Big Man in the Woods UK.
I was reading an article the other day, and it's one of those and finally points. But it's not and finally because it's in the middle of a podcast. But hey, and finally, in Australia, a wood-burning stove blew up after a World War II grenade was thrown on it. Basically, the 70-year-old grenade was hidden in a tree, and the lady was using the tree as firewood. She chopped down the tree, and somehow, where her chops were in the tree to make the fire logs, she captured that grenade in the middle of the log. Try and picture it in your mind. She threw that log onto the stove. She didn't know there was a grenade in there. The rest of the logs that she's taken from that tree, she put on it was no problem at all. She sits back, relaxes, try and keep him warm with a cup of cocoa, I'm presuming, and then boom! A massive explosion, because that World War II grenade has just exploded in a wood-burning stove. You'll be pleased to know that the 22-year-old girl from Australia was thankfully unhurt in the blast. I was trying to think of a headline to use for the podcast for that, but I couldn't think of it.
You're listening to Big Man in the Woods.
So something I've been doing over the past couple of weekends, while it hasn't been the best of the weathers, we have been discussing it on Facebook about, going autumn camping and winter camping, but I've got a young one, and in the past episodes I've been telling you that my family at the moment means so much to me. And yeah, it'd be great to go camping in the winter, and it'd be great to go camping when it's snowing and all that kind of thing, but at the moment, priority is family, which means I can't go camping when it's cold, because my wife won't let me, basically. So what I've been doing some stuff at home and in my garden, and I've just been trying to do some experiments. We've all seen these YouTube videos about making waterproof matches and making this and making that, but do they actually work? So I've been making some videos, which I will post on the website in the next few days, about DIY matches. Do they work? Are they worth all the aggro? Or can you just go and buy some simple waterproof matches and save the time and money? Well, yes, you can do that, but it's been more fun for me to make my own waterproof DIY matches. And one thing that has worked so well, and it's the most simplest thing to make waterproof matches. Guys, go to your girlfriend's, your wife's makeup drawer and get a pot of nail varnish. I've made a video for this, so don't worry about that. I'll put it on the website in just a few days. But this is what you do. You get a normal match. You get your wife's nail polish. Make it into a colour just because it's easier to notice that these are the waterproof ones. If you get a clear one, then you're not going to tell that you've already marked them in nail varnish. So make it a clear. You can either paint it on. What I've found that it's easier if you just get the match, dunk it into the bottle of nail varnish, put it on a grease-proof bit of paper. Don't put it on tin foil because it'll get stuck. Grease-proof bit of paper. Leave it for a few hours. I found actually leaving it overnight dries it out really nicely, and then strike it. You don't need to scratch it off like if you coat the wax with the matches. These just strike straight from the box. They're waterproof. I've soaked a whole load overnight. Yep, you can take the dampness off the match with a tissue or something, but I've even just got the wet ones, sparked it straight from the matchbox, and they spark so nicely. And that's all you got to do, is dunk your normal match in a nail varnish. I've put a video on the website in the next couple of days. I've also done these kind of fat wood matches where you get a load of fat wood, make it a long matchstick, and then you go to some original matches. You scrape off the red original from the match, put a bit of water, mould it around the fat wood into... Oh, God, you know what? It took me ages. It took me 30 matches, and it didn't work. So if you're looking for waterproof DIY matches, that is the most simplest one, is get nail varnish, ding, pop it in, let it to dry, and you've got loads. So simple. Head over to the website in the next couple of days. I'll put the video on how I made that.
For more camping tips and tricks,
visit our website,
YouTube channel
or Facebook page.
Big Man in the Woods.
And that, guys, is episode number 10. Short and sweet. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you've learnt quite a few little bits. So we've learned about a good knife for 11-year-old, so the Moira Craft line. We've heard that Paul Kirtley has got his podcast, so when this is out, I'm sure episode 1 of Paul Kirtley's new podcast will be released. Go over to that. So it's about survival. So Dr. Sarita Robinson, that was at the Bushcraft Show 2013 and 2014. She was one of the main speakers. Paul Kirtley interviews her about survival skills. And then, as you heard, that Ray Goodwin will be in the next episode. We also talked about sleeping bags and how to make your own survival waterproof matches. Don't forget, please head over to the website, sign up to our emailing list so I can tell you when the new episodes are out, either podcasts or videos. And if you could be so kind, go over to the iTunes website, subscribe, and leave a comment. Ha-ha! And you thought I wasn't going to tell you about how to win the Big Man in the Woods Christmas package. It is great. I'm not going to tell you what you're going to win. It's going to be a nice little surprise when you open that on Christmas Day. All you're going to do is head over to the Big Man in the Woods Facebook page. If you haven't liked our page, like it, share it, promote it to your friends, and then find the post that says, win the Big Man in the Woods Christmas prize. That's all you're going to do. Like that, share that, and that will be amazing. And you never know, you'll be winning that amazing Big Man in the Woods Christmas prize, which includes the Big Man in the Woods t-shirt. So thank you very much. If I don't speak to you now, before Christmas, I'm sure I will. Have a great Christmas, and I will see you in the new year in 2015. But I'm sure we'll speak before now. So once again, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and have a great one.